Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
I'm ready.
Excellent. Today, we're heading over to New Jersey, where something strange has been going on for weeks now.
Oh,
Yeah, strange lights in the sky. People are talking about drones.
drones, huh?
Yeah, unexplained drone activity. It's got the whole state buzzing. We've got a pile of news articles, some interesting social media posts, and even some expert opinions to dig into.
Sounds fascinating.
Let's try to make sense of this whole thing, shall we?
Okay, so what do we know for sure?
Well, the report suggests these aren't your average, toy drones.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're
Uh,
talking about drones flying in formations.
Really?
Yeah, even what some experts are calling swarms, like multiple drones moving together, almost like a single unit.
Wow, that's something else.
I know. And get this, some reports even say these drones are huge, like as big as a car.
As big as a car. Seriously. That's incredible.
I know, right? So where did all these sightings start?
Well, the first reports we have came in around November 18th, mostly in Morris County, places like Mendham, Chester, Randolph.
Oh, yeah, I know those towns.
Yeah, a lot of our listeners probably do. But since then, the sightings have spread to other areas like Somerset and Warren counties. There's even a report near the Merrill Creek Reservoir. That's some critical infrastructure.
Wow, that's definitely going to make people nervous.
Yeah, for sure.
I can see why people are getting a little freaked out. Imagine, looking up at night and seeing these silent, dark things just hovering in the sky. It's like something out of a movie.
Totally.
So, what are people saying? What are the main theories out there?
Well, the internet, as you can imagine,
Yeah, I can only imagine.
is a hotbed for all kinds of speculation. I mean,
Yeah.
everything from Russian spies to aliens is being thrown around.
Oh, come on, aliens.
Yeah, seriously. But before we dive into the world of conspiracy theories, let's hear what the experts have to say.
Okay, yeah, let's ground ourselves a little bit. Who are the experts weighing in on this?
Well, one of the most prominent voices is a professor from NJIT, Professor Pramod Abichandani. He's a specialist in drones and unmanned aerial systems.
Okay.
And he thinks these drones are most likely being operated by either commercial companies or the U.S. military.
Interesting. And what makes him think that?
Well, he points to how complex these operations are. To have drones flying in formations, especially in swarms, it takes a lot of technology, coordination, and resources. It's not something your average hobbyist could just pull off.
That makes sense. But why would commercial companies or the military be flying drones so openly, especially near residential areas? Wouldn't they usually try to keep these kinds of operations quiet?
That's a really good question. There are a couple of possibilities. One is that they could be doing training exercises or maybe testing out new drone technology.
Right.
Another possibility is that this visibility is intentional. Maybe even a form of deterrence. Think about it. A visible drone presence might discourage certain activities,
Right.
or maybe make people think twice before going into restricted areas.
So it's not necessarily about hiding, but more like sending a message.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a fascinating perspective. But with all this uncertainty, how have the authorities responded to these sightings?
Well, things have definitely escalated. The FBI is now leading the investigation, and the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration,
Right.
they've actually set up no-fly zones over some sensitive areas because of this drone activity.
No fly zones. Wow. So those are areas where it's like illegal to fly drones, right?
Yeah, exactly, for security reasons.
And where are these no-fly zones exactly?
We're talking about places like Picatinny Arsenal, that military research and development facility,
Oh, yeah.
and even Trump National Golf Club.
Wow. So the FBI is really taking this seriously then.
Oh, absolutely. The fact that they asked for these no-fly zones shows just how seriously they're taking it.
So it sounds like even though we don't know exactly who is operating these drones or why, the authorities are definitely paying attention.
Yeah, they definitely are, for sure.
Mm.
And it's not just the feds, local police departments are involved too.
Really?
Yeah, they're on high alert, telling people to keep an eye out, report anything strange.
So if our listeners are out, walking the dog and they see something weird up there.
Don't just ignore it. Could be a piece of this puzzle, Help figure out what's going on.
Exactly, report it. But let's go back to those theories for a second.
Mhm.
You mentioned criminal activity earlier.
Uh-huh.
What would be the reason for criminals to use drones like this?
Good question. Well, some people have been talking about, drones being used for casing places.
Casing place.
Yeah, like scoping out houses, businesses, places to rob. It's been a concern in other areas where drones are becoming more and more common.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Professor Abhichandani, the drone expert,
Yeah.
he thinks that's probably not what's happening here.
Oh.
He says if criminals were involved, they'd want to be sneaky,
Oh,
right? They
yeah.
wouldn't want to draw attention to themselves with big drones, especially at night.
Yeah, I see his point. Flying around with lights and everything, that's not very subtle.
Right. So probably not criminals.
Okay. So then what about terrorism? That's got to be on people's minds, right? Especially after everything that's happened.
Definitely. It's a real concern, and I'm sure the authorities are looking into it.
Yeah.
But again, the way these drones are behaving, flying in groups, sometimes with lights,
Mm.
it's not really how terrorists usually operate.
Yeah, you're right. Terrorists usually want to be quiet, unseen, not like announcing their arrival with a drone air show.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
seems more like they want to be noticed, which doesn't really fit, does it?
No, not really. It brings us back to commercial or military then.
Yeah. It did. The visibility, while it's strange, could actually be part of the plan. Like we said, training, testing, maybe even a way to discourage something.
It's a weird situation, but we can't ignore the elephant in the room.
What's that?
The aliens. Social media is full of theories about aliens, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen those.
People are convinced these drones are like alien probes here to spy on us.
It's funny, isn't it? When we don't know something for sure, our minds go to the craziest places.
That's true. But we got to stick with what's more likely, what makes sense.
Right. No point jumping to aliens without some real proof.
Exactly. Speaking of proof, you said the FBI is leading the investigation. What does that even mean? Are they, like, trying to catch these drones?
That's the big question, isn't it? The information we have doesn't really tell us what they're doing. We know they're gathering reports, asking people to come forward with what they've seen.
Okay.
But are they actively trying to intercept these things? We don't know.
It's like something out of a spy movie.
I know, right?
But I bet there's a lot of, rules and regulations around trying to catch a drone, especially in the air.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, shooting a drone down, that's a federal crime,
Really?
Yeah, and even trying to jam their signals or something, that could mess with other stuff, cause problems.
Yeah, you don't want a drone crashing down in the middle of town because you messed with its signal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for now, it seems like they're focused on information, trying to understand the patterns, where these drones go, what they do.
Okay. And that's where listeners can help, right? If you see something, say something.
Exactly. If you spot one of these drones, really pay attention. The size, how many there are, where it is, what time of day, even a photo or video, if you can get one safely, would be super helpful.
Yeah, anything that helps the authorities understand what's going on.
Absolutely. And if you want to report it to the FBI, you can call their hotline,
Oh, yeah? What's the number?
1-800-TEL-FBI, or go online, tips.fbi.gov. Every little bit of information helps.
So even though these sightings are creepy and definitely a little scary, the authorities haven't said that they're a direct threat, at least not yet.
Right. No need to panic, but definitely be aware, keep an eye out.
And it makes you think, doesn't it, about the future, about technology.
It really does. What if these drones are just the beginning? What if we see more and more unmanned things in the sky?
It's a little unnerving, but also kind of exciting. I mean, we've already got drones delivering packages, taking pictures.
Search and rescue, even.
Yeah. What happens when they get even more advanced, more common?
It's a whole new world, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we're going to have to think carefully about how we manage it. All this new technology.
Yeah. Safety, privacy, all of that.
It's a big challenge.
Yeah.
But that's what makes this whole thing so interesting, right?
Totally. We're not just talking about lights in the sky. We're talking about the future and how technology is changing our world.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into this New Jersey drone mystery, there's one more piece we need to talk about.
What's that?
The governor.
Mm.
He's been awfully quiet about all of this.
You mean Governor Murphy? You'd think he'd have something to say with all this going on.
Right. But even with people asking him to address it, he stayed silent for weeks.
Really?
Yeah. He finally said something on December 5th on his X account, I think it was.
So after weeks of silence, he finally speaks. Did he actually say anything useful? Did he clear anything up?
Not really, no. It was pretty vague. He said he was, quote, actively monitoring the situation and in close coordination with law enforcement.
Okay.
And he said there was no threat at this time.
So a lot of words, but not a lot of information.
Yeah, pretty much. Which, of course, just makes this whole thing even more mysterious.
I know. What's he hiding? What does he know?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? But that's kind of the beauty of a deep dive like this.
What do you mean?
We've looked at the facts, we've talked about different ideas, and we've pointed out what we still don't know. Now it's up to our listeners to decide what they think.
That's true. What stands out to you? What do you find most convincing? What questions do you still have?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've given you the pieces, now you put them together.
And as you keep following this story, and maybe even look up at the night sky yourself, remember that sometimes the most interesting things happen when we least expect them.
Yeah, it's wild to think that this is happening right here,
Mhm.
in our own backyard.
That's what I love about this whole thing. It's like so close to home.
Literally. All these weird lights, the governor being all secretive, so many questions still. What do you think this all says about, you know, us? About how we deal with new technology?
That's a good question. I think it shows how technology can change so fast, faster than we can even understand it?
Yeah.
Like, we've got these super advanced drones, they can fly in formation, swarms even, but we still don't really know what to do about them, how to control them.
It's like we're always one step behind trying to figure things out after they've already happened.
Exactly. And I think this whole situation in New Jersey, it also shows how important it is to be open and honest?
You mean like from the authorities? Yeah. The fact that they're not saying much, the governor being quiet for so long, it just makes people more suspicious.
Yeah, it kind of makes you think they're hiding something.
Right. And then you get all these crazy theories popping up, people filling in the gaps with whatever they can imagine.
Like the alien thing. We can't forget about the alien fans out there.
Oh, yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
They're having a field day with this, I bet.
It's kind of fun to think about, though, isn't it?
It is. It shows that no matter how much we know, there's always going to be that part of us that wants to believe in something bigger, something mysterious.
I get that. But for now, we got to stick with what we actually know, right?
Definitely. So we've got these drone sightings, we've talked about different explanations, and we still have a ton of questions. What now? What should our listeners be looking out for?
Yeah, good question. What should people be paying attention to as this whole drone thing keeps unfolding?
I think the most important thing is to stay informed. You know, keep up with what the authorities are saying, but also be open to different ideas, different possibilities.
Yeah, don't just take everything at face value.
Exactly. And of course, if you see something weird in the sky, report it. You never know. Your observation could be the key to figuring this whole thing out.
That's right. Keep your eyes on the skies, folks. You never know what you might see. So that about wraps it up for this deep dive into the New Jersey drone mystery. We hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep asking questions.
Thank you for cruising with us on Podcast Cruise. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us bring you more intriguing and thought-provoking podcasts. Stay curious, and we'll see you on the next adventure.